وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. أيها الإخوة والأخوات، السلام عليكم
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Welcome all of you back again with this lecture of your program Fatwa Life.
السؤال الأول في هذه الحلقة حول معيار العدل في العطية.
The first question about justice in the gift. If a person decided to give something with his kids, do they have to be equal or is it the same rules of the inheritance for the guy like two? The scholars they are not all agreed on one thing, because the equality, it is the one that Allah has accepted in His book when He said, Allah is advising you when He advised you with your kids for the son, the choice of two women. And this is the opinion of several scholars like Malik and others. And they use it for life and after death. But the majority of the scholars, they say that they have to be equal, men and women, because this is a life. And the example in it is better than the preference. Like it's the expenditure when you are taking care of your kids. You don't say for each male has double what the woman. No, you give each one their need, and the equality is in it. This is the saying of majority Abu Hanifa, Abu Yusuf, Al-Shafi'i, because this is what the saying of the Prophet ﷺ. Like when the Prophet ﷺ, the man came to him and he said, do you want them to be all good to you? So don't expect the son to be different than the woman, and the female is the same like a male. There's no difference, they are equal. And the Prophet ﷺ said, equate between your kids in giving. And if I want to prefer someone, I would prefer the woman over men. And this is saying more prior in knowledge. Wallahu alam. The second question, someone was asleep. When he woke up, he looked at the clock and he thought that the Maghrib already passed, so he broke his fast. He looked after that too. He found out that there's still 3 more minutes. So what about his fasting? Does he have to redo it? Whomever broken before sunset and he thought it is sunset and he found his fasting is not done and he have to redo it. Yes, it is no burden on him. Allah will not burden him for the mistake he made, but he needs to correct the mistake. So originally is to the day still in, and the certainty cannot be moved by doubt. But Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, he disagrees with that, and Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, he also agree with him. He said he just need to stop if he knew that there's still days, and then he need to wait, and his fasting is correct, and there's no compensation. Why? Because Allah said there's no burden on you from the things that you made mistakes, but what you intended in your hearts, and Allah was forgiven. And the hadith of Asma, daughter of Abu Bakr, that they broke the fast at the time of the Prophet ﷺ in a day that it was cloudy, and then the sun came up, and they were not ordered to redo it. So they held for the rest of their day and they were not asked to redo it. And this is more evidence. But to guard yourself and getting out of the dispute, you could always remake it. And you're not gonna lose nothing, but sins is gonna only thing that's gonna be you losing and gaining good deeds. The question after that, there was I had a cut on my lips, so I cleaned them without making gurgle in my mouth. So how about the water that entered my mouth? Does that break my fast? We tell her, my daughter, your fasting is correct. The breaking of fast, that the water need to go inside your stomach, not into your mouth. And when you make wudu, you gurgle, and you make a sense shaft where the water will go through the nose, that goes through the mouth. So that water that goes in there does not. And you could always do abundance of that except the time of your fasting, but you don't swallow. So you make sure you don't swallow, and if you have something, you spit out. Yes, they're gonna be the taste of water in your mouth. That's not a problem. That's not where the issue is, but not intentionally to swallow. A woman is asking, can you at the time of she is teaching her daughter to pray. If I don't pray, she will think that I'm not praying right. Like I don't eat, she think I'm fasting. And this is like for Maghrib and Isha. So we tell her, I'm glad that you are guarding yourself and you're concerned about saving your daughter on the shar. And she's still a child, was not asked. The hitting on the fasting is that's a training. So until 10, you don't force them into the prayers. You just train them. You don't need to go too extreme when you are training your kids for the prayers, and don't try to do something more. If Allah wants us to do this with our kids, He would have told us through the Prophet ﷺ. So what He ﷺ left will get us to Allah and to paradise. He will clear it to us. And anything will get us closer to the hellfire, He will tell us and make us aware of it. So if it was that from the things that is we have to watch Him, then we have to do it. So I hope that you work instantly and do not overdo things. Wallahu alam. A question after that. Head of the family lives in the United States. His family lives in the East. What does he do with the Zakat al-Fitr? With what value, what country does he take it out? This is a repeated question that comes in different forms, but the answer originally is Zakat al-Fitr, that you do with food. And if he did that, then you eat wherever you are, and whether you don't look at the value, you look at what the amount. But if he wanted to take the value, and that it is a good choice if the interest of the poor is very obvious, so using the value in the area of his residency to make it easy on the poor and needy, just like Allah allowed you in your place. The same thing and if you are grateful, Allah will increase, and if you disbelieve, Allah's punishment is very severe. And that will show that you're not running with the zakat to the east to make sure that it is cheaper. Thinking though it's about the cheap. No, don't work with Allah in that way. To make sure you are not, if you want to take the value, you take it with the value in the place that you are residing in, and depends on the income that you have. And make sure whatever you spend, Allah will replace it. And remember your Prophet who said, 3 hours of no money will decrease because of charity. And he is the truthful, that he does not need to swear and he does not talk falsely. He is an inspired person. Someone is asking, I have some real estate in England and there is a company that rented, and it is for 2 ladies. I'm afraid they are lesbians. This is something commonly in the West. But the same thing, like if you rent a man or woman, they get married. I can't ask if they're married or not. The only thing that company does is to make sure they pay the rent. They don't care about what they are. Do I have to look at that? The rent, if it is for something, it's not a nightclub or a casino for gambling or a place for alcohol, the things that is forbidden. So you're not required to verify what happens inside the doors that are closed and locked, because the accountability on these people, between them and Allah, we are not ordered to look and verify and dig into people's life. That's not what we are supposed to do. The original thing that your rent is a certain thing, and we're not supposed to look behind the doors. And after that, there's there is so many ways of change. You can you could guide yourself to just make. You could put specification, but there is no need. The wara is to safeguard. It's various, but we're not required to verify people's lives. Another question: can I take part of my zakah to open a masjid in my house? You want to take part of his house and make it a masjid. It is the only masjid in the area. Or the other one about 2-3 kilometers, which make it very hard to pray in congregation, especially for people that lose. We're not going to have Friday, of course. The answer: it's nice to make a masjid in your house. Let that be from your own charity, not from your zakah. And whatever happen from activities of da'wah, you can sponsor it from zakah, because it is a part of jihad for the sake of Allah. The International Fiqh Committee said that the jihad could be done with the hand or with the tongue. Allah said, do not follow the disbelievers and make jihad on them, very big jihad. Talk about the debate or the dhikr. the majority of scholars that in the sake of Allah, it is for those who are fighting for the sake of Allah, and their salary is not enough to be enough for their life, or those who are making the Hajj. So it is to safeguard, to make your not to use the masjid for zakah. You just, when the understanding of jihad it included the jihad of word, then you could pay for from the zakah on da'wah to the sake of Allah. And that the decision of the Assembly of American Muslim jurists and the international one. And the second question, a woman bleeding after a surgery to clean the wound without abortion, does she pray and fast or no? The blood that will stop the woman from her prayers in the period, or the one after giving birth? Anything from that after that, she is not required for. But the blood that will stop the woman from her worship is the period and the nifas, which is the blood that comes out of giving birth. Ameen. Another question. We live in a very strange woman. Can we accept if the seller tells that he has halal meat? Do we have to go for a certificate? Well, the law that they have to be accurate about what they are exposing for sale. So any cheating, that could close the business. That could really put a lot of fines for those who violate it. So I hope whatever he says should be enough, unless if you know from those who are knowledgeable about a certain place that is not accurate and he just using it, this is cheating. But originally, that it is enough with the declaration of the person, just like the ingredients that's in anything. You don't go and say, "Oh, do we?" No, you just take it, ingredients, and you follow it. You just go with that that you see. So mostly it is all authentic, but unless you have something that came up to you. And this will say about the financial institutions that declare their Islamic identity and their formation, and they have a board that verify. So we know that to deal with them, that it's allowed, unless there is a certain way. If you see this treatment that has some doubtful things, this is by itself is the one that you avoid, and everything beside that, it is allowed. I shall not make people overdo what they are making. We need to bring people to their Lord very gently. Ameen. My father's field, they are not doing good thing because they are rich and they are well, this is, there's no to say it, overdo it, but this you want us to see what you see, we can, but you're right that we advise you. And our advice in general, listen to what my master years Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said. The person who connect with his kins is not the person who reward them for something they did to them. No, but it is the one that if his relative severed the relationship with him, he continued his relationship with them. He continued seeing them. In the hadith, who said, I have some relevant, they are very unkind to me. I'm good to them, they are very bad to me. He said, if you are like this, you are throwing that red lava in their face. And Allah is responsible for them. That charity and the kinship will increase in the sustenance and happiness in the hereafter. And if you leave, don't you see that you're going to go in the earth, and these are the ones that Allah has made them blind. Allah said, I will connect with those who connected with you, and I will sever those who sever the relationship with you. Someone's asking, is it enough to tajahud, or to go with the Rasul? Could be done on the last one. And it is vast on this matter. Someone, he is using I use like certain pumps to water so many acres. First of all, to sell by installment with an increase in the price, this is allowed. And with that you could see the fatwa, and I hope my brothers, they go back to this decision, and I hope we have did put it for them on our and yes, you can sell on payments, installment, with the safeguarding yourself from several ways. The last thing, the penalty, the fine on the loans is not allowed, with extension to the riba understanding, delay, and I will increase. Either you pay or you have to pay with the interest. The person, he will have some, and then he can't find the money to pay back. He will tell him, okay, I will delay you, and I will charge more. And Allah says, if he wants a person of difficulty, so he will look for something easy. If you give charity, it's better if you know.
لا يحل للمدين الغني المطل مطل الغني ظلم لي الواجب يعني مماطلته.
So his delaying, it requires the punishment. So to delay is not allowed, and the fines is not allowed. The delay
يعني مثلا اتفقنا مع المقاول
Like let's suppose we have agreed to the contractor that he'll give us the masjid last year, and we're gonna find 10,000.
التزام عملي.
This is not this is our work, but not to receive some money.
التزام عملا وليس دينا، ليس مبلغا من المال، لا حرج في فرض الغرامة الداخلية في هذه الحالة، لأنها تحمل الملتزم على الوفاء بالتزامه في ميقاته.
Because the fine that way force the other person not to delay payment.
اللهم قنا عذابك يوم تبعث.
آمين.
زوجة أخي
The wife of my brother, she tried to make a problem between me and my
وتختلق كلاما
and she lies,
أخي يصدق.
and my brother he believes her.
بعضهم على حرم البيت والمعلوم أنه مهجور دم المنتهك. ده سؤال آخر.
This is, let me take this question before that.
أنا لا أدري أين السؤال إذا كانت تختلف الفرية الأكاديمية
If you are,
وتوقع بين دم القربى
if the wife of my brother,
ذلك ظاهرة بينة.
she tried to sit with me and my brother, to make a problem between me and my brother.
بين الناس الوقيعة بينهم
And
الإفساد بينهم.
she always tried to
وينبغي أن يكون الأخ
cause a problem.
على شيء من البصيرة وعلى شيء من الفطنة، ينتبه إلى ما يمكن أن يقز به الشيطان زوجته ويحملها على الوقيعة بينه وبين يعني ذوي قرباه وذوي رحمه. إن من أزواجه وأولاده عدو لكم فاحذروه. هذا كلام ربنا.
Allah said, and from your wives and your kids, enemy of you. So be careful.
النميمة من الكبائر.
And namimah, backbite, is from the great sins,
إفساد ذات البين
and to destroy the
عاجل والآجل
what is good,
ذات البين
and to correct between people
من القربات.
from the things that makes you closer to Allah.
ألا أدلكم على ما هو أفضل من درجة الصيام والصلاة
As the Prophet ﷺ said, they want me to lead you to what is better than fasting and praying and charity. And he said to fix the problem between your brothers.
هجم بعضهم على حرم البيت والمعلوم أنه مهجور دم المتهجم. بعد التهجم
Some people entered the question about an attack that happened on a house. Did somebody exceeded their rights to get their rights? The Sheikh said this is something you need to go to the court and the authority, not to me. The other one, my son, he is studying. Do I pay zakat al-fitr on him? Well, if you want to make the naful, not a problem. But he will teach you to, so it will. Sure. And we are done, inshallah. Subhanallah.